Hey everybody! Today we're taking a tour of AutoCrit, which is a tool that helps writers plan, write, edit, format, and even do market research for their novels. My name is Katherine. I'm a USA Today best-selling fantasy author, editor, and book reviewer, and I've been using AutoCrit since 2019. I've used it on over 10 books, and my goodness, this has been a life-saving tool. I'm going to go ahead and put your mind at ease very, very quickly by pointing out that AutoCrit is safely in the industry's AI-assisted category. That means that it does not write or rewrite any portion of your book for you, not even on a sentence rewording level. It will point out ways that you can make your books better, but you have to actually do all the writing and come up with the rewording. It also, as I've got the AutoCrit FAQ pulled up right here, it also does not train on your work. Your work is 100% safe, and that's said clearly on the site. No muddied print. Your work is not going to be fueled into some LLM for training. So if you're like me and you're looking for something that isn't going to generate content for you, that is safely AI assisted, and that does not train on your work, this is the tool for you. I do work for the AutoCrit editing team currently. I came on board with them a few years ago after buying and using a lifetime pro membership for several books. But this video is not sponsored by AutoCrit. I am not receiving any kind of compensation for this video, for posting it. I'm not receiving compensation for link clicks if you click on them in the description box. And I do not get paid anything if you sign up for a membership of any kind. This is one writer talking to other writers. So with that, let's dive in. I'm going to show you around. AutoCrit has two separate programs to it. One is AutoCrit Pro. That's going to be the community element and the writing, editing, formatting, and marketing tools. And the other is the AutoCrit Academy over here on the left-hand toolbar. The AutoCrit Academy has a monthly membership for people who are wanting to take classes to learn the craft. It gives you writing workshops and courses. These workshops and courses are different every month and cover a variety of different topics. Like we just wrapped up a self-publishing course on here. We're going to be talking about writing festive fiction this month. So many things coming up there. So if you do not want the monthly membership to the Academy and a course catches your eye, you can sign up for those on a one-off basis. Outside of the Academy, there are also author services, which you can add on from AutoCrit's human editing team for things like first chapter critiques and developmental edits in the form of story inspections. The Academy and author services are the only two things as of July of 2025 that cost extra if you are a pro member. Pro memberships cover everything else. So every single tool in the AutoCrit Writer's Desk that we're going to be showing in a second, every single community feature is included as part of your pro membership, which is really, really nice. All right. This main screen here is the hub. It's what you're going to see when you first log in to AutoCrit. And this is going to have pep talks and upcoming events and step-by-step guides through certain parts of the system. There's also a help bubble in the bottom right corner here where you can connect with AutoCrit's support team. AutoCrit's support team is 100% human. We do not have any bots that man our chat bubble for us here at AutoCrit. So if you have questions, send them and a real human being will reply to you. Very nice. We're going to start up here in this top toolbar and it will say calendar. So the calendar is where you can see all the upcoming events, both pro member events and free events, and the Academy's courses and workshops. Anything with the word free in the title, like the Evening Sprinters Club you can see here. We do several Sprinters Clubs every week at AutoCrit, or the free planning and drafting class coming up this Saturday are 100% free, no strings attached. You do not need to be a pro member. You do not need to be an Academy member to come to a free event. So free events will be labeled free. If you get a pro membership, which gives you access to the Writer's Desk and all the community tools, you also get bonus courses taught by instructors and editors and guests. these will always say pro members in the title. So we have a group story doctor session where the AutoCrit editing team is going to give help and feedback on different aspects of people's stories that they're stuck with live. There's also an upcoming event with a multi-best-selling author who sold over 300 books who's going to give feedback on book covers exclusively for pro members. So if you're a pro membership and you've been missing out on these events, go to the calendar tab and check them out there. You can also catch replays for recent events that you have missed here as well. So if you missed, for example, the team planner check-in for our Novel 90 writing challenge that's running this summer, and I say our because I'm coaching Team Pantser this year. It's a huge honor. So thank you to AutoCrit for letting me do that. Team Planner has their replay right here. So you could catch any of those. Outside of the calendar, you can connect with other members as a pro member in the pro member forums. The pro member forums are going to be a place where you can come do daily check-ins. You can ask for feedback on a piece of your work, ask for writing, publishing, planning advice, things like that, all available here. You can also individually message other pro members with the messages tab at the top. On the top toolbar, you have a search button. Your notifications will be revealed up here, and your membership settings are here, along with the logout button, which I highly recommend you use at the end of every session. So that way, when you come back to your AutoCrit, you get the newest version updated. AutoCrit's 100% web-based. That means that there is nothing to download. You can log into your AutoCrit account on any device with a web browser. But because of that, you do have to make sure you log out and log back in to put the new updates available on your version. So we're going to go back to the hub one last time, and I'm going to point out this getting started section right here. This is going to be a quick start section that takes you to the Writer's Desk tools over here on the left. It'll show you your most recent idea, the most recent file you worked in, and things like that. But if you'd like to see the full Writer's Desk, click on the Writer's Desk tab on the top left side. So here on the top left side, here's our Writer's Desk. There's 3 sections to this Writer's Desk, and your files live here. If you're new to AutoCrit, there is a tour from the AutoCrit company here and a getting started video here, but I'm going to walk you through these different pieces very quickly on today's video as well. Project and Files is where your projects live. The uncategorized files folder keeps a backup of every single file you have in the system in case something happens. Then you have your individual folders that you've made, which you can toggle to active or inactive. That way, if you don't want to see all your inactive ones, they're available there. Files that other people have shared with you, like co-writers and editors and beta readers, here in AutoCrit are in the shared files folder. And there's even demo files that you can open and give AutoCrit a try in just to get a feel for how the different reports and tools work. Then at the top, you can shift over to Story Ideas. This is the section where you can start brainstorming and planning before you start writing. We have fiction and nonfiction tools here in AutoCrit. I have people ask me all the time, does AutoCrit support nonfiction just as much as fiction? And the answer is an emphatic yes. There's an entire suite of tools developed specifically for nonfiction. This is by no means a fiction-only platform. I write fiction, so most of the things I use it for are fiction-based, but it can definitely support educational pieces, business pieces, memoirs, and more in the nonfiction tools. The last section here is the goals and stats page. You can have overall writing goals and stats, and you can have individual ones inside of your book files. And I'll show you that in just a second. So this is where you can set all of that up for your overall. So going back out to projects and files, I'm actually going to open The Vow That Twisted Fate for you guys for a second. You guys know that this book is already out on the market. This is the entire file. It's 101,000 words right now. This was the first draft version of this file. The biggest book I have put into AutoCrit is 257,000 words long, 47 chapters total. As long as all of your chapters are between 200 and 10,000 words per chapter, you can run your entire book through AutoCrit's editing tools at one time. There are no caps here, you guys. I mean, you don't have to wait a day to run another chapter. You can run an entire book series through the day you sign up for AutoCrit Pro if you want to. But there's no chapter caps. You don't have to buy credits. You don't have to pay for tokens. If you get the monthly pro membership, you get unlimited access to everything in this Writer's Desk today. And you don't have to pay a cent extra to use anything else, which is so nice. No more waiting for results. You can get everything now, and you can rerun it as many times as you want. So this is an example, though, of how I have this set up. The chapters drop down has a drag drop ability. So I can drag and drop scenes or chapters if I wish. And if you don't use the word chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, you can click this plus sign after you highlight the chapter name, and that will save it as a chapter so that you can use all of the tools. AutoCrit has a couple AI-powered tools that do not generate content for your book, but give you analysis and brainstorming on your book. I have a video up on the channel showing the summer 2025 Amazon KDP requirements and guidelines for AI-generated content. And in that video, as you would see, and you can see this on Amazon themselves, they currently require disclosures if you have AI-generated content in your book or on your cover. They don't require disclosure for brainstorming at this time. Now, of course, that can always change. But with that being said, if you would like to use the brainstorming tools, hop on over into the planning tab, pull up either the fiction or nonfiction version of the analyzer. I'm going to pull up fiction here. Start an idea and start typing in information. And this yellow light bulb button is what pulls up the ideas for you. Now, if you fill out a whole bunch of these boxes and then you click the yellow button, it will generate ideas with the other boxes in mind. It can't read what you write in that box and take it deeper, though. So if you want to, for example, have a premise idea expanded on, you need to put that premise idea in another box. So that way, when you click this, it reads that other box. Otherwise, it'll just delete what you've written. So this is where you come to plan out your premise, your characters, your world building, your beat sheets, which is outlines, plot centered, character centered. You can read short stories through here. You can do full novels through here. I'm a pantser, so as you can see, I do not have an outline for this piece, but I do use AutoCrit's Analyzer, which is over here in this analysis tab, to run a reverse outline in the backwards blueprint section. So the analysis tab is where you're going to come to read your book and give you two different kinds of overview feedback, okay? One is developmental for plot, pacing, world building, and character development. Think of this as like beta reader style feedback. This is going to be the analyzer. So again, fiction or nonfiction version. You'll run the analyzer to 100% using the steps that are currently on the dashboard page of AutoCrit, or you can search for that article in this little help bubble. But you're going to start here. It will read your book to 100%, and then it will give you an overall view of unresolved plot threads, inconsistencies. I recommend starting on this overall tab. So you could do your developmental edit right here with this feedback. It will give you feedback on how you actually ended up writing the characters versus how you meant to write the characters when you were planning them. Then the backwards blueprint tab reads your book and fills out everything on an outline for you. Basically, everything that was in that planning tab is going to be available here in the backwards blueprint. But instead of reading your own book and having to come up with where you said something, it reads it and pulls it out of your book for you. So it just saves a whole bunch of time in that first step to doing a developmental edit. So we've got our planning tools, your analyzing tools to see what you ended up writing, and then there are technical editing tools built into AutoCrit. The best way to get a feel for where to start with line and copy editing for readability and flow and word choice and the strength of your descriptions and things like that is to start out in the summary report. The summary report is not powered by AI like our brainstorming tools and the analyzer. The summary report is 100% algorithmic. The majority of AutoCrit's tools, over 20 of them, are powered by an algorithm with no generative AI involved in it whatsoever. So, what this summary report is doing is looking at the technical writing style of my book and comparing it to whatever genre or author that I have chosen in my comparing with section, which right now is George R. R. Martin. Why did I pick George R. R. Martin, you might ask? Because I pay to advertise my books to George R. R. Martin's readers. Therefore, I want to make sure that my book meets their style expectations enough that they enjoy it. And if my book is so totally different in style to him that it would take a massive overhaul to change, I'm going to pick a different comp author, you guys. And AutoCrit has a way you can see some comp authors. So you can pick a specific author or a specific genre, like fantasy in general, or horror, or thriller, or nonfiction genres. There's two kinds of scoring for the AutoCrit scorecards. The first takes into effect down here solely apples to apples comparison. In a piece this long, how similarly do you write in these categories to this person or the genre you've selected? So I write 67% of my writing is similar to George R. R. Martin's, but only 59.7 in strong writing. Repetition, I'm exactly the same 100%. This is not a pass-fail score, 75.7. This is a similarity score. So I'm 75.7% similar to Martin. This does not mean that the content is good or bad. If you score 50, it doesn't mean you have a bad book. It means that you only write 50% similar to that author. So maybe you should find a different author. If you write 50% and it's your key genre, then you might have a lot of work ahead of you to bring it up to reader expectations. So don't look at this scorecard as a determination of the quality of your actual story. That's what the analyzer is for. This is just for style. The top option is the AutoCrit plus the author or genre you chose. AutoCrit Plus takes into effect not only how that person actually writes, but what current industry experts and feedback from readers are saying they are leaning toward. So you might see a lower or higher score in overall running this. Because if you're trying to meet the current audience's expectations, you may be looking at things a little differently than how they were originally written. So strong writing jumped up to 77.2% similar to what readers want. When I add in reader reviews and expert feedback on what's going to be trending versus just having apples to apples with George R. R. Martin. Scrolling down here, we'll see these sections broken out into the different reports AutoCrit has available. So we have slow-paced paragraphs. George R. R. Martin has 214 slow-paced paragraphs in a 101,000-word novel. I have 123. So I am actually under average, and my score will go down if I'm too far under or over on here. This is how similar you are. So the closer you are to what they have, the higher your score will be in similarity. Now, for those of you who know me, you know that I don't really go for George R. R. Martin's pace. I have two authors that I advertise to readers of. Martin is one and Sanderson's the other. And Sanderson writes faster paced books. So when I get to the pacing portion, I ignore what it says from Martin and I don't worry about my pacing here. I do worry about it if I'm way off Sanderson's though. I like Martin's style, but I also like Sanderson's pace. But I also don't want to be just like them. I want to be myself. I don't want people picking up my book and being like, oh, this is just like a Brandon Sanderson book. I want people to say, this is a Katherine D. Graham book. But I want them to also like it because subconsciously the same things that fuel the writing style they like in Sanderson's work is fueling the writing style that I am going on my own. So you could see sentence length, how much dialogue I use versus how much dialogue he uses, how many adverbs I have in my dialogue versus how many adverbs he has in his, how many adverbs I have total, all of these things. So you can get an idea of where you need to start on your editing that way. Now, between the pacing report and readability, the rest of these reports are all algorithmic. So pacing is going to take me down to those paragraph lengths. Dialogue is where I can see my adverbs of dialogue, strong writing, and on any of these reports, just going to run the adverbs ones here. It's going to have 2 parts in the right-hand toolbar to help you work through things. Because AutoCrit is AI assisted, it can't just correct all your adverbs for you. It can't just automatically fix all of your tenses for you, or it would be crossing the line into that AI generated capacity. You still have to make your changes and you have to decide how you want to change them. But what it can do is point out places where you can consider making those changes. So George R. R. Martin only uses 532 adverbs in a 101,000 word piece. I have used 1,042 adverbs. Guess what, you guys? I need to cut out some adverbs. My goal is to be within 15 to 25% similarity to George R. R. Martin. So within 100, 150 words or so below or above. On the top, this is the part that matters most. On the bottom, it now gives me a breakdown of how many times he would use that specific word. And this recommended amount to remove to sound like they sound is going to change. If I change this to Sanderson, I'll get a different list. If I change this to fantasy, I'll get a different list. So down at the bottom is more creative choice. It's author voice. So I'm going to go to the first finally by clicking on it. My stomach is finally protesting. I now have to decide, do I keep this? Do I cut this? Do I replace it with something else? I am going to keep this one and skip down to the next one. I'm sorry for hiding the dagger from you. I finally say aloud. This is a weak adverb. It doesn't add anything to the context of the sentence, and it doesn't really reflect anything going on in the scene. If I take finally out, nothing has changed in meaning, so that one I am cutting out. Don't misunderstand, he finally says. So this case, I've used finally twice. 1, 2, they're very close together, so I have repetition at play here. Maybe I take this second one and want to replace it with something else, but I don't know which one. There's a smart thesaurus built into AutoCrit, so you can highlight one word and click the thesaurus, and it will read the sentence and give you suggestions based on the actual context. And then you can pick which one you want. But this is the closest you're going to get to a suggestion in AutoCrit. It's not going to tell you, you could rewrite the sentence to be XYZ. So you keep that creative control to finally be on the same page with him to get to be, to perceive to be. Some of these work, some of these don't work. So you're going to work through these lists in AutoCrit on this algorithmic level and choose which ones to change, choose which ones to keep for your unique author voice, choose which ones to cut out, do your revisions that way. There's POV shifting reports, tense consistency reports, reports that show you how much you summarize and tell things instead of doing an immersive shown sentence, unnecessary filler words that you flow through, lots and lots and lots of reports. AutoCrit's YouTube channel has an entire series called AutoCrit 101 that I recommend very, very highly if you're going to try self-editing for the very first time. It'll walk you step by step through all of this stuff. So those are the technical editing reports. Then there's an inspiration ability here. So let's say you get stuck in this scene. You don't know where to go. We're going to click what happens next. This is going to read your book all the way up to wherever you clicked, and it's going to give you ideas of things that you could do in the scene. These are not things you can copy and paste in, but they're things that you could use to make this piece your own. So I'd say, oh yeah, I do like the idea of having this unexpected twist thrown in here. And then you can write your actual scene. So this is that safe brainstorming ability. If you're trying to change the mood of something, for example, I want to make the scene more terrifying. I could go in here, go to fearful, say I want it to be terrifying, I want it to be frightened. I can have it give me ideas, and that will show me some things that I could work in to the book to make it more this way. And it says use subtle hints of dialogue, dive deeper into the protagonist. It's not going to revise anything for me to do that, but it'll give me the step-by-steps. So I feel like, in a way, AutoCrit sets you up to make yourself a stronger writer, because you're not just having a system do it, you're having the system teach you to do it, which is very, very helpful, especially when you're first using AutoCrit, you're first self-editing and things like that. All right. So we're going to close out of here. And let's see. On the publishing, let's see, up here at the top, the last button that we have is the publishing tab. This is going to be where you come set up and format your piece for publication. I have an entire video on that here on the channel, so I'm not going to go through all the steps quite yet. But here is our publishing piece. You can format as an EPUB or print-ready PDF in your AutoCrit account, and then upload that to the retailer of your choice. On the right-hand toolbar, you have notes. You can leave yourself inline comments with these notes. You can take them back out if you wish. There's also voice-to-text dictation and an editorial e-reader built into AutoCrit that reads up to about 200 words at a time. Then finally, if I go back to my analysis tab, one of the newest tools here at AutoCrit is a market fuel demo. So it can help you do market research for things like keywords you could use for this book, Amazon categories that you could put it under, your genres, specific comp authors and comp books. So all of this data is built into your analyzer. So as a whole, going through AutoCrit, you have a community piece in the forums and in the pro member and free events. You have the academy piece if you're wanting to learn the craft, and you have the writer's desk piece, which is where you're going to come do your actual writing, editing, formatting, and market research. If you have questions about using AutoCrit for yourself, this little help bubble in the bottom right corner is where I recommend heading. Their support team, being 100% human and not having bots to throw scripts at you, can help you very, very quickly, usually in minutes. If you have questions, writer to writer, about my experience using AutoCrit, about my experience with any of the tools, feel free to drop them in the comments, and feel free to share your own experiences, because we learn best from each other. Thanks so much for tuning in. Best of luck with your writing, and I'll see you guys on the next video.